Out there. That's the actual floorboard.
So you could quite easily fit a kitten onto there.
You really could. And that big hole there is where the rat went down. Luckily there's no rats here now. Not that we know of anyway.
That's okay.
You almost want to get that yourself, the shot going up when we walk down. Yeah, I can hear. So this is day 3 of our Lake District trip. This is the so last full day. I think tomorrow the plan is to go home unless we have a big change of heart. So today we decided we were going to do the full Beatrix Potter experience. Yes. And finish it off. We did both the
Hilltop, which was her first home that she bought herself. And then we did the Beatrix Potter Gallery, which is based in the old office of her husband.
So we did the Hilltop first and then the Gallery second, and I think that's the right order to do it in. Yes. Do you agree?
I would agree with that.
You wanted to do it in the reverse order originally. Is there what made you change your mind? Think that it was different? Why is that the correct order?
I think because, especially when someone's passed away and you've got this sort of almost, I wouldn't say a legendary status, but you know what I mean, they're all sort of a mythical type person. You sort of have this idea of who they are, and they don't almost seem real, you just sort of know their work as opposed to the person. So by going around Hilltop, and because of the way it's been set up, it's literally like she's just popped out to grab some milk from a neighbour or something. It really makes her feel like a real person.
Okay.
And really humanises her, and because they've got the books out, so you can see where she took inspiration from.
Yeah.
it really gets you quite excited about the books and the stories and the characters.
Yes, it
So-
does actually. You're right.
When you then go to the gallery, you're going, oh yes, we saw that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the staircase. We saw that staircase. And because you're actually looking at the real
Yeah.
painting, it's just another depth to add into that.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt that was the right way around.
No, that
It
makes
sort of
sense.
complemented the experience.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I would have said I liked it because I felt that the gallery was very final. The gallery's not very long, so if you're starting to get fed up of this Potter woman, it's a nice finish that actually you can just whisk round it and then you're done and then you're in a nice village. That's the other reason for doing it in that order, actually, is that the Hilltop's in the middle of bloody nowhere because it's a little farm. Whereas the gallery's slap bang in the middle of a village where there's lots of nice tea shops and shops and etc. etc. So that's the order to do them in. The Hilltop, to make sense of what we've been rambling about, is Beatrix Potter's house that she bought with the royalties from the books, and it has an awful lot of inspiration to it. Basically, the reasons to go and see it, in my mind, is A, if you're interested in the woman behind the stories, as you were saying, it really humanises who she is, and it gives you a big insight into her and her mindset and things. But also very, very good if you are interested in history, because it's unchanged. When she passed away, she left it to the National Trust, which was just getting started. Turns out she was friends with one of the founders, who was the local vicar of the National Trust. And basically she left absolutely solid instructions on how the house should be left and what should be left in each room.
Itineraries of where things should be in each room.
Yeah, exactly. So although it's not perfect, they have to move it around slightly just to keep it alive almost, because otherwise
preserve some of the things.
That's the word I was looking for.
They said like the carpets and the wallpaper are replicas of the original because the wallpaper has since faded. The carpets have worn. Thousands of people have walked on those carpets now.
Millions and millions and millions of people.
So they've had to replace them, but they are with authentic replicas.
Yes.
And the same with the wallpaper. They replicated the wallpaper, which was on the ceiling as well, which I thought was terribly cool.
Yes, they wallpapered the ceiling. It must have just been. I think wallpaper was quite new at the time, so
yes,
it was
I think
very
it's quite
novel.
fashionable. Yes.
Yes, but it really does give you sort of. So it does two things, it does three things actually. One, it humanises the person. Two, it's very interesting on a historical front of this is how Victorian people live, and this is things that they have and stuff that they do. There's one of the ladies talking about the centenary teapot, it was the marriage of the king at the time.
George VII?
King George. It was King George back in
or King James. No, it was George.
Okay, King George. Doesn't matter.
One of them.
Either way, she has this marriage teapot. And it turns out that this was very, very fashionable, and you had to be very well-to-do to have
everybody
it.
who was to do had one.
You had to have one. So it sort of shows you things like this, and things that you had to have, and stuff that was standard in the household. Things like spinning wheels, and the fact that, Rachel, you pointed out, there was a clock in every room. Because obviously digital, watches weren't about. So if you wanted to know the time, you had to have it easy access. So there was clocks in every single room.
I'm sure one room had 2 clocks.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things. So that's sort of the two main things. The third thing, which they actually really help show by leaving the books kicking about, is it shows inspiration. That they actually have books, the Beatrix Potter books, open at a page and it says please leave open, so that you can pick up the book and read it, but when you put it back, leave it open at the page that shows where she's drawn inspiration from. Some of the prime examples is the
Samuel Whiskers and the Rolling Pin.
Yeah, that's the big book. If Samuel Whiskers, there's about 3 or 4 different shots because it's set in that house. There is the.
She actually has a cameo. She's cameoed herself in that book. So
yeah,
which is really
exactly.
interesting.
But she's got there is the picture of the Mrs. Cat. I can't remember her name. On the landing, and it's the landing, pretty exact with the clock in the background and everything. There's
the
Samuel
stairs
Whiskers
with
at the
rolling
top.
pin, and you can actually see like the window and stuff.
Yeah, and it's
behind.
exact. And there's even the one of the things that drew inspiration with the book, it turns out, is that she had a weird joist in the floor, that all of the planking of the floor upstairs, one of them was tiny, one of them's about this big, and all the rest are, you know, at least
Great
a metre
long
long,
floorboards.
great big 2 metre long floorboards, yet one of them's this little weird 1 foot piece, and that's what gave her the inspiration for
Having Tom Kitten hidden under it.
Yeah,
And the joiner having it come.
yeah, that's the one the joiner pulls out, so, which is really cool. So that's the 3 big reasons to go and do the Hilltop. Is there anything anything else on the Hilltop?
No, not really. I think it'd be nicer to go in the summer when the garden's a bit more alive. It was all a bit, it's cold and we're not growing.
Yeah. Yes,
'cause-
because it is a farm.
Yeah, it's a farm, and you could see the gardens, and they had the little piglet trough and things for Pickling Bland,
Mhm.
and these little cute little things, and you know the sort of the prop spades from McGregor's garden and all this sort of stuff, all sitting about, but there was nothing growing because, especially when we've still got snow, even though it's like April tomorrow, and so it'd be nice to go again when it's summer and when the garden is grown, because that is where one of her biggest inspirations is from, is the gardens.
Yes, and looking at, because they have, again, the path up to the house is used in a couple of
her
books. There's
yeah.
a few points where that's from, and it's covered in, you know, and when you look at the artwork, it's full of flowers and things, so I'm sure it would be lovely during, as
In
you
the
say,
summer.
in the summer in full bloom. So, but that's the Hilltop. Well worth doing for those 3 reasons. Even if you're not interested in Beatrix Potter, if you're interested in history, then it would be worth doing on that basis. The gallery, which is sort of set, it's a couple of miles away. I think it's 2.5 miles, they said.
Yes.
So it was worth driving. Is, again, as you said, it's based in the old, the husband's
Because he was a solicitor.
solicitors,
His old office.
so his old offices.
So again, very strange little building. And all the wood, the floors are all warped
Yeah.
and things, and tiny little doors, and
So yeah, the building.
constantly it's like, find your head.
Yeah, so very interesting on a historical point for that it's been left fairly intact, but not nearly as much. They don't really go into what the building was for or what anything like that, because I was sort of trying to be interested in the building and the women.
Normally they
Mhm.
would, because everything. Obviously, this is a centenary of when she was married to William Heelis, and the publication of Pickling Bland. So the entire gallery was very much focused around this marriage and the run up to and the marriage and what was going on in her life. You know, she had bronchitis and things before
Yeah.
the marriage, and
And all
her
the
parents
artwork.
didn't approve. And although there was artwork, there was a lot of Pickling Bland artwork.
It
up.
was Pickling Bland
You know,
specific.
So again, it's worth going again at a different point. I think there will be different exhibitions. So I think normally they would give you more information on the building,
Right.
but I suspect because
They've kicked it to
if
the
it
side.
is, if that's what they have all the time every year, it would be like, well, this is a bit convenient that this is the wedding this year.
Yeah. No,
That's
absolutely. I think it would certainly go into who he is a bit more,
Yeah.
because they're using his building,
Yeah.
sort of thing. But with that one, it's basically you go in and there's a couple of touchscreen things for just reading through sort of what you want to know about. Again, it was very much all about the wedding and Pickling Bland, so I'm sure that'll change
Yeah.
depending on what's going on that year and what's important. I'm sure if you go next year, it'll be the centenary of the next book. Probably it'll be.
It's funny because the next couple of years, so she'll know about 6 more books
After Pickling Bland, yeah.
So it's
it'll be go a
Been a
bit
couple of
squiffy.
years. It'll be another
But yeah,
bit,
they'll sort of they'll do all the special occasions and all the birthdays for each book. But yeah, basically the main reason to go to the gallery, although it has more history on the person, which is quite nice. We kind of knew it all by having done everything else. The big one to go to the gallery for, in my opinion, is to see the art.
Yes, because I think because there's funny things like nowadays comic books and stuff, they're not A4. They draw them A3 and they shrink it down.
Yes.
But her paintings are actually only 3 inches
Which
across.
really amazed me, because
They
I
are
was like, why is it not bigger? Why don't they shrink it? Because you can't do that with the old print. Oh.
It's harder to, certainly.
Yeah.
But, because we live in an age where big things scale down easy. So it was really, because obviously all books mention her failing eyesight and how it's made it so difficult.
Mm.
And when you see the fact that her paintings are just that small,
Yeah, are
realise-
designed for these little kids' books about that big. Yeah.
you sort of realise how important her eyesight would have been, because of candlelight and stuff, how those tiny details, how it would impact so badly on her.
Yeah. That was another thing randomly on the Hilltop that we were quite surprised at. It's a very dark house,
Yes.
which, for a house for an artist, we were quite surprised at. But
that was the time.
Random little bit of info there. So the gallery, I think the only other thing in the gallery that really sort of caught my eye was that it went into how she made the stories, because it had all her jotters and rough drafts and things. That she would actually build.
She sort of designed and did almost a typography.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, she'd sort of do a sketch of her illustration, how she wanted the text to sit next to the. So she effectively designed page by page how she wanted her book to look.
Yes.
And then we just copy and paste, edit details over.
Yeah,
the
and that was
text.
what impressed me, that she didn't just rub things out and scribble it over. She'd actually go, no, that sentence doesn't work.
Well, they wrote in ink.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, true, pencil doesn't. No,
They
she
did-
did
they
use
did have
pencil, because it's
pencil,
artist's
but-
pencil.
Writing in pencil wasn't really the done thing.
No, fair enough. But yeah, she would actually cut out pieces and put it over, and they do have sort of examples where actually it's layered like 3 or 4 times until the sentence is right, and there's bits of sentence from the old ones showing. It's really weird.
Yeah, the day before copy and paste.
Yeah, absolutely. But it sort of shows that there was real art to it. I think I think it's one of those things. Reading the stories is that
How involved she was in the whole process.
and how involved you have to be with the children's book as well. You can't just write any old gibberish. There is a thought process to it, and it does go through redrafts. Because a lot of people go, it's such a simple story, anyone could write it. And it's like, well, actually, no, you have to put some oomph into it. So, but yeah, that was the gallery, though. The key thing to do with the gallery, to see the gallery, is to see the artwork up close and proper.
I certainly think if there's a particular favourite book, if it comes up to a sensible anniversary,
keep an eye out. Yeah,
keep
and
an
go and
eye out,
have a
because
look.
they do really centralise over a key theme
Yes,
at the
because it's a
gallery.
very small building, so they can only.
It's only like 3 or 4 rooms. It's very small,
But that was that one, really. I would have said, if you're interested in Beatrix Potter, but don't care that much.
I would say it complements the experience. I'd
Yes.
say you've got to kind of be avid fan, almost, or very interested. The World of Beatrix Potter we did on Monday and Tuesday,
That would have
was
been
for
enough.
everybody.
Yeah.
And it's fabulous, but I think what we did today is to complement in addition to that. It's sort of there was a couple of kids kicking about, but
It was mostly older
it was
people.
mostly sort of people our age group and older, where it's like, we grew up with these books, we love these books, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
there's that, but I think there's also sort of the interest where the reason why I wanted to go was because it was sort of like, we saw the stories and we know what the stories were, and we heard why the stories were written. Let's have a look at who she is.
Yeah.
Beyond the stories and things, and that was what made it very interesting, is that it's just a very, very good look into someone's life and into this
Quite
person's.
often the author is forgotten.
Yes, yeah, and the story lives on, but the
And she was
author.
very eccentric, so she's actually a very interesting woman.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, doing things like leaving a house to the National Trust to begin with is very interesting.
It was only 15 farms she left them.
Oh, she left them
ridiculous.
acres and acres of land. But that is, yeah, so that's the experience. I would have said, as we say, I wouldn't take young kids to them. I don't think
No.
they'd be that interested. Take them to the original experience, though. It's much more interesting. Same, and yeah, if you're in the Lake District and want to see some Beatrix Potter, but weren't that amazed by the books as a kid, or not that fussed, do the Beatrix Potter experience. That was the big, most excellent one, and then you'll know after that whether you want to go and do more.
You had enough Beatrix Potter.
Yeah, because we came out going, well, that was actually very interesting, and
We want more.
you can go to the house that she bought, and we saw photos of. Oh, that would be very nice. Or you might go out going, that was nice. Let's do something different. So that would be my advice. Is go and do the big Beatrix Potter exhibition. It's big, it's colourful, it's got wonderful things. Everyone should go and do that. I think
Yes.
everyone would have good fun at that, and find it fun and interesting. And then from there, you'll know whether you'd be interested in seeing the Hilltop or the gallery.
It's
or
like I
both.
said, it's a compliment to the experience.
Yes. It's definitely, it complements. It's not important, though. It's not a must-do. So, but that was what we did today. It didn't take us that long to do either. I think
No.
you need about an hour for the house, and about 20 minutes to an hour for... It was only about half an hour, I think, we were in the
Yeah,
gallery.
about half an hour, 40 minutes. I think.
Yeah, give yourself... You'll need an hour for the house, especially if you're looking through it properly and going for a walk. And then, you're looking at about 3 hours. I mean, we were back by about 2 o'clock after leaving at 10 from here, and it's a half-hour drive away. So that sort of shows you, we weren't terribly long. But that's our holiday, really.
Yes.
Anything to drop in?
No, it's been a really nice holiday.
Yes.
We should do some more random editions again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been good. I'm knackered, actually. I think we're both rather tired now. I think Blackpool took it out of us more than we thought. So that's us. If we don't make a random wrap-up tomorrow when we're home, we'll see you next time.
Yes, bye.
Cheerio!
Ciao.